Welcome to this general tarot reading. This one is actually the second part of the previous one that I don't have a title for yet. Was something about women, not only for women, but about women and work and women against women and all kinds of stuff. And during this first tarot reading, I also received something dark about Germany, the country where I live and where I was born. And actually, I wanted to know, with a second spread, what this was about, but I'm not sure if this second spread is revealing anything regarding this darkness that I saw, that the feeling that I have that something terrible is about to happen here. Just give me some moments to dive into this second spread here. I have a very impatient feeling. A tired feeling. Suppressed aggression. Wanting to move forwards, having the ideas, the inspiration, the strength, the energy to move forwards, but life not letting me move forwards. Now I'm receiving something about imagination, our human imagination. So the reading or the people that this reading is supposed for might have to brutally be pulled out of their imagination, even if they mean well and have the right intention and their hearts in the right place. If they feel energetic, strong, inspired, whatever, to take action, if they have a plan, it seems though there is something else for you or for us than what we have imagined. Maybe it is similar to what we have imagined, but it comes in a very different way, or it is not similar to what we have imagined. There is just this thing about imagination, and that our imagination, no matter how lively or vivid it is not guiding us anywhere. It is still imagination. Even if your imagination is inspired by something deeply energetic that is very true to your soul's purpose on earth. Let's say your destiny is to become a drummer or something like that. And you were just born like with this talent, and you always liked playing drums, and you always wished that you could be a drummer and do that the whole day and make your living off being a drummer. But it hasn't come true fully yet, even though you are inspired and you are practicing and you're good and you try everything and you played in bands and blah blah blah, you know, you did everything right, but somehow always something comes in between, or you never meet the right people that with whom you can reach your goal together. And then you are imagining how it could happen, when it could happen, and what songs you would play, what music you would make. But maybe, and then you overact on it and you desperately try to find the right band or the right people in general, and you just keep doing and doing and doing, because that's what we are taught to do, and to a certain extent it's right to do things, but still you never get the result that you need, and you get stuck. And you just keep waiting and hoping that one day it will come true, but the time passes by and you're still stuck in this stagnancy. And then you start imagining how it would be, blah, blah, blah. And then you're imagining how you would be in this, let's say, heavy metal band. But even though you're not entirely wrong, and it was your destiny to play drums, maybe at the end you will end up as a steel drummer and you will play in a Hawaiian whatever band, and you will love it, and it will be the fulfillment of your destiny. You know what I mean? It's not wrong. Sometimes our desires can come from immaturity and from all the wrong places. But sometimes our desires are actually very sincere, and they have a deeper meaning, and they are genuine, and they come from our so-called soul. And you might, in that case, be absolutely right about really wanting to be a drummer, but you could be wrong about thinking maybe you are 31 years old and in Hollywood all the drummers are like children. And then you think, now I'm too old, I cannot be a drummer anymore, blah blah blah. I don't want to wait until I'm 40. But maybe you will end up in as a steel drummer when you're 40. I'm just trying to say, we don't know when the right time is for our purpose, soul purpose, to come true, and we don't know how it will happen. And often our imagination can be very useful. Our imagination, you know, when we have an inspiration, a creative flow, and then you have the idea for how to play the drums for a certain song. Then you also add your imagination in the process, and you start imagining, like, let's say someone is playing a guitar tune to you, and then you hear it and you can immediately imagine what the drums would be like when the other person plays. You know, our imagination is not a bad thing. It's quite cool to have imagination. But our imagination can also wander off and can make us crazy and hopeless, and you know the whole story. So that's actually what this reading is about. And I don't know why, but it feels like you still have to wait. While you wait, you can still practice. You can write down your ideas. I don't have a really happy feeling about this reading. Sorry. It feels like a little bit sad and annoyed, constantly being stuck, never finding the right people, always having to wait and hope. But I think the task here is to consciously stop the exaggerated imagination and just to wait with patience and without expectation. Just wait. Just imagine being a woman, or maybe you are a woman, being pregnant, and you could, I don't know, enjoy the pregnancy. I don't know if that's possible, because sometimes women get nauseous and all that, and they constantly have to go to the toilet and all this stuff. But just let us try to push this aside a little bit. Just imagine like being one with this baby and trying to feel into the child that is growing in you without projecting too much onto it, and starting to imagine, if it's a boy or a girl, how she or he will look, what profession they will have later, what baby stuff you will buy for them. To a certain extent, that's also fine, but I think some people overdo it, and the child is not even born, and the parents already want them to become a doctor and study at a certain university and all that stuff. I don't think it's fair. So that's a negative kind of imagination. Just wait for the baby to be born, look at the baby's face, and then maybe you can pick a name that's somehow suitable for that child, and pick the clothings that are suitable for the child, and you just wait and let the child grow a little bit, and then you can think about maybe what kind of profession would be suitable, but not too early. And just let's get back to the example with the drummer. I think this reading is for people who are very spiritual and who have a certain destiny. Like not some soulless, purposeless people, which also exist. And you can probably feel very strongly that you, even if you can't logically, mentally grasp it, that what you want so dearly is really genuine, and it's really meant to happen, it's meant to be your desire, it's meant to be your destiny, and there's nothing wrong with it. But you probably still have to wait. I don't know why. I actually already said probably because it's a lesson about just waiting patiently, waiting without expectation. But I have a feeling there's more to it that I'm not allowed to see right now. So regarding this part, that's all. Now I still have the bottom of the deck that I also usually like to include. Poverty, it says. So, how does that relate? Maybe being poor or not being wealthy or middle class, something maybe being in the lower spectrum of, I don't know how to express it in English, like you could be really poor, or you're not like totally poor, but you're also not in the upper middle class or something like that. So your wage is a little bit lower, and maybe that's why it is also tricky to make that wish come true, because maybe it is an expensive hobby and the classes are too expensive, or the instrument. Let's get back to the drummer example. Maybe you need a certain space where you can practice, because in your regular apartment it would just be too loud. And then you have to pay for a place to practice. You have to either buy your own drums, or you have to rent drums, which also costs money. Maybe you want to hire a teacher who teaches you some things. It costs money. And that's the thing with most things. If you paint, if you make music, if you like sewing, if you design clothes and you want to sew them, it all costs money. If you just like going for walks, it doesn't cost money. But most hobbies cost money, and especially artistic hobbies are very expensive. I know by experience. So maybe that is something that is holding you back too. And the other thing I'm getting about poverty is maybe that let's just stick to the drummer example. Maybe you are already playing in bands and you have played in some shows, but you don't earn enough money to make your living with it. Or you even have to pay for being at these, or for playing at these shows, which nowadays also seems to be normal. So there's something about money and this desire and talent and thing that you have. Maybe you are hoping that this hobby, this talent, will one day pull you out of poverty. And that's why you're hoping it will happen soon. This is what I'm also seeing. And to be honest, I just can't tell you when it happens. And I can totally resonate with this as well. It's just really this card, wait. It just jumps back. It's the heaviest. I don't mean heavy in a negative sense. Like, my attention is constantly drawn to this card, wait. As if it's the core of the whole reading. Oh, I think it has something to do with the unknown, with not knowing, with uncertainty. Oh, uncertainty can be such a torture. I think that's what this card is actually about in this case. Like, somehow you have this strong feeling this is your destiny. It is your soul's desire and not your so-called egoic desire. And it actually has to happen, but it just somehow doesn't happen, and just time is passing by. And even though you feel so strongly it is your destiny, you just have to wait all the time and live in this uncertainty. And it would be easier to give it up and find something else sometimes than constantly being in this state of waiting and hoping, in this state of uncertainty. This fear of what if I spend my whole life waiting and hoping, and then one day I'm 89 years old and I die, and I just spent my whole life waiting. And I don't mean that waiting that most people mean when they say waiting, like not doing anything about it, not changing anything. I know some people, they try so hard. And they try so often, again and again, over years, and it just doesn't work out. And they don't find the right people for their project. But we usually don't hear about these stories, because those few people who make it in some fields, these famous ones, we only know their stories. But there are so many other people in the world who are so talented in all kinds of fields that you can imagine, but who don't get to that place. And as I'm saying that, something really warm is opening up in my heart. Just give me some seconds. Oh, now they are showing me something about these three, because usually I like to, above the spread, pull one main card as like a common thread for the whole spread. In this case, I didn't pull one, I pulled 3 cards. Wrong, injustice, and relief. So it's about maybe thinking it's unfair that often the wrong people make it. People who are self-enamored, narcissistic, people who are selfish and probably even less talented than others, and they reach a huge amount of success and fame. You know what I mean? Like some people who are not the best singers are publicly praised as the best singers. Or some politicians who have a very secret, sick personal life, and they do a lot of terrible things and they are just a horrible person, but they are successful and publicly they stand for something totally different. Like, you know, all these double standards as well. Like maybe you have suffered from that too, always having, like, you putting in so much effort, being so sincere and hardworking, nothing working out, and still having to watch other people succeed who might not even deserve it. I don't know why that came up, and I really was aiming at something else. I really wanted to know why in the previous tarot reading I was having this weird feeling about my home country and that something will happen here soon, something bad. I was not expecting this one, but okay, that's what came out. Thank you for watching.